like to call the meeting to order. Ms. Burns, roll call, please.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Bowman is absent with prior notice. Mrs. Lafferty?
Here.
Mrs. Marshall?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Sporny?
Here.
And Mrs. Waldbeiser?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I hope I can read this right. The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters related to labor matters, consulting with counsel regarding an assessment appeal pertaining to the Oxford Valley Mall, and employment matters. We'll work when you're writing. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowman, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Since our last meeting, it was a very busy month leading up to the holiday break, as you probably heard somewhere because it was kind of everywhere. Our Neshaminy High School Select Choir won the high school division of the B101 Christmas Choir Contest. Their prize was the opportunity to perform the song for a sellout crowd at the Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert at the Wells Fargo Center, to make an appearance at the radio station, and they also received a $5,000 check to benefit the music program at the high school. Congratulations to the choir director, Ms. Kristen Nichols, and our incredibly talented students for making Neshaminy shine this holiday season throughout the Philadelphia region. Also, congratulations to members of our Future Business Leaders of America Club at the high school who competed at the FBLA Pennsylvania Regional Competition at Delaware Valley University last month. 24 of our students are now regional competition winners and have qualified to compete at the state competition in Hershey coming up this April. And finally, it is officially gym night season at Neshaminy High School. This theme of the year is Are We There Yet? And practices start this week. Gym night is March 1st and 2nd, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what our red and blue teams come up with this year. For this road trip theme. So obviously, as everybody knows, this is probably the biggest event at Neshaminy annually, probably one of the hardest tickets in the country to come by to get a Saturday night gym night ticket. So we look forward to another great event. And that's all I have, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Ms. Burns, any public comment?
There were no sign-ups.
Okay. Moving on, I'd like to make a master motion to approve item 2.01, administrative retirements resignations, 2.02, certificated retirements resignations, 2.03, certificated appointments, 2.04, certificated leaves of absence, 2.05, certificated revised leaves of absence, 2.06, certificated co-curricular appointments, 2.07, support retirements resignations, 2.08, support appointments, 2.09, support ancillary appointments, 2.10, support leaves of absence, 2.11, support revised leaves of absence. And I would like to note that we have Linda Glenny retiring with 31 years of service, and Janet Felkner retiring with 18.6 years of service. There's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments, questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Okay, that brings us to item 2.12. Jill, 2.12.
I'd like to file a motion 2.12 Berkheimer confidentiality resolution. Whereas the Neshaminy School District is partnered with Berkheimer for tax collections, and whereas this action requires the naming of a new liaison with the district tax collector. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors approves the attached resolution appointing Joyce Kulczynski, General Fund Bookkeeper, as the liaison between the district and Berkheimer, the duly appointed collector of certain taxes for the district, for the express purpose of sharing confidential tax information with the district for official purposes.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Oh, yeah, Lafferty. Sorry. Any comments, questions? Okay. If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. 2.13, Mrs. Hollenbeck?
I'd like to make a motion for 2.13, resolution to not raise taxes above the Act 1 index. Whereas Pennsylvania Board of School Directors have the option to adopt the Act 1 resolution for the upcoming fiscal year in accordance with Section 311 of the Taxpayer Relief Act of Special Session Number 1 of 2006. And whereas the Act 1 index for 2024 through 2025 is 6.1%, and the district will not raise the rate of any tax by more than the index. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby adopts the attached Act 1 Accelerated Budget Opt-out Resolution for the 2024-25 budget in accordance with Act 1 of 2006.
Can I get a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Allen. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Mrs. Lafferty?
I'd like to make a motion 2.14, 2024 school board meeting calendar, whereas the Neshaminy Board of School Directors must adopt and publish a schedule of public meetings for 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby adopts the 2024 school board meeting calendar.
We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sporny. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Mrs. Marshall?
I'd like to make a motion 2.15 BCIU number 22 intermediate board appointment. Whereas the Bucks County Intermediate Unit number 22 is governed by an intermediate unit board of directors, and whereas the Neshaminy School District has the responsibility to duly elect a board member to participate in the intermediate unit board, and whereas Neshaminy's participation is critical to the operation of the intermediate unit, including the services afforded to the Neshaminy School District, and whereas the president of the Neshaminy Board of School Directors nominates Jill Waldbezer to serve on the intermediate unit board to complete the 3-year term ending June 30th, 2026, served by Paul Cerullo, where she is eligible to succeed herself without limitations as to the number of terms or until another representative from the school district is nominated. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby appoints Jill Waldbezer to serve as the representative to the Bucks County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors.
There's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Rodriguez?
I'd like to make a motion for 2.16, the Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board Appointments, whereas the school board policy number 005 requires the Neshaminy Board of School Directors appoint board members representative to the Joint Board Committee of the Bucks County Technical High School in accordance with the terms of the Articles of Agreement between Bucks County Technical School and the participating school districts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby appoints John Allen and Kellyn Sporny as member representatives to the Joint Board Committee of the Bucks County Technical School to a term of 1 year.
Can I get a second on the motion?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Lafferty. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Rodriguez?
I'd like to make a motion for 2.17, resignation of School Board Director Cindy Bowman. Whereas Cindy Bowman has submitted her letter of resignation from the School Board of Directors effective at the commencement of school board meeting on January 9th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves and accepts Ms. Bowman's resignation effective at the commencement of the school board meeting on January 9th, 2024.
So motion on the floor, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments or questions?
I would just like to thank Mrs. Bowman for her years of service to the Neshaminy School Board.
Yeah, I too would like to thank Ms. Bowman for her service to both the school district and the community. She was a tremendous advocate for student education here and academics here, and her participation in the Educational Development Committee was tremendous, and her voice will be missed. So I want to thank her.
Thank you. Okay. We have a second, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8 to... Mr. Sporny.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion, 2.18, new school board director appointment process and timeline. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors sets a deadline for the submission for letters of interest and/or resumes to be considered for the appointment of the vacancy from Region 1 on the Board of Directors, Neshaminy School District, by no later than Tuesday, January 30th, 2024 at 4 p.m. to the Neshaminy School District Superintendent's Office, attention Board President, courtesy of Board Secretary, 2250 Langhorne Yardley Road, Langhorne, PA 19047, with interviews of candidates, if deemed necessary by the board, and the appointment to take place publicly at the board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 6th at 7 p.m. at the Neshaminy School District Administrative Offices Boardroom, Maple Point Middle School Complex, 2250 Langhorne Yardley Road, Langhorne, PA 19047. The submission must be submitted via hand delivery to the superintendent's office or by first-class U.S. mail, but must be received no later than 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. All submissions shall be time and date stamped upon receipt and distributed to the board. These procedures for submission shall be posted on the district website.
Can I get a second on the motion? Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Torrente, could you expand on what Mr. Sporny just read?
Absolutely. There is one typo in the resolution. The third line down, it says at 4 p.m., I think, and then second from the bottom, it says 5 p.m. on January 30th. I believe they both should read 4 p.m. on those dates. So by way of background, Pennsylvania School Code has a provision where as Ms. Bowman has just done, she has resigned, and there's an open seat on the School Board of Directors. There is 30 days from today to appoint the replacement. There's a motion on the table to outline the procedure on how that replacement will be chosen by this board. The appointment, again, has to be done within 30 days. The closest meeting date to give the board time to accept the resumes, to look at them, and then possibly do the interviews is February 6th. That would be, I believe, day 27 or 28 before the 30-day deadline expires. So all the interviews have to take place if that's what the board chooses to do in this room at a public meeting. So that's the procedures outlined by the board and what's required by the school code. Any questions?
Okay, so we have a second on the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 8 to 0. That concludes our action items for tonight. And the following are items for approval at the public board meeting. Some routine business matters, homebound instruction, out-of-district replacements, overnight trips, BCIU truancy services agreements. And that brings us to the committee reports. Mrs. Hollenbeck, Business Operations Committee.
Our next business operations meeting is January 24th, 2024 at 6:30 in this room. That will be where are discussing the preliminary budget. So if anybody has feedback about that, come on out and talk to us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Educational Development, Mrs. Lafferty? Mr. Rodriguez, I'm sorry.
It's okay. The Education Development meeting will be January 16th at 6:30 right here in this building, in this room. Other than that, there's nothing current to discuss.
Thank you. Facilities and Planning, Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. The Facility and Planning Committee has a meeting coming up this Thursday, January 11th, 6:30 in this boardroom. We'll be discussing a number of ongoing facility issues up at the field house, I believe our Proquessing extension. And that is the meeting to come to if you have input or you want to be informed of what we're doing around here is regarding our buildings and our grounds. Thank you.
Thank you. Policy, Ms. Lafferty?
The next policy meeting is in this room on Thursday, January 18th. I believe it starts at 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. Thank you.
IU Board, Mrs. Waldheiser? No report. Nothing to report.
No report at this time.
Neshaminy Education Fund?
Sure, I have that, Mr. Sullivan. The Neshaminy Education Foundation met here at Maple Point yesterday. Among the items discussed was the results of the 23-24 NEF grant program. The board is pleased to announce that they will be funding 12 grants for a total of over $15,000. Thanks to all those that applied for this competitive grant for their creative ideas, and look for a public announcement about who won coming out this week. The NEF is looking for sponsors for their Harlem Wizards fundraising game, which will be played on Saturday, March 16th. I believe this just came out this week. Very hot item topic in the elementary school world these days. Please visit www.neshaminy.org/wizards for more information about the game and sponsorship opportunities. That is a really, really great event, just like a lot of the things we do here. It's a really great event that everyone has a really great time with, adults and kids. I highly recommend it. The next meeting will be held here at Maple Point on Monday, February 12th at 4 p.m. Members of the community are invited to attend and participate. Thank you.
Thank you. PSBA Liaison, Mrs. Marshall?
No report at this time.
Thank you. Tech School, Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. First, I would like to thank the board for your continued support and confidence in me to look after Neshaminy's interests on the tech school board, and I am glad Mr. Sporny is joining me over there. Your background will be invaluable over there. A couple things I'd like to report. The first thing off the bat is one of my favorite topics is our students who excelled, Students of the Month. We have Evangeline Jala from our district in the 10th grade, and Lauren Sperling was named Student of the Month of the 11th grade at the tech school. Also, at that meeting, we held our reorganization meeting at the tech school, and we appointed our following officers, not on that page. Sorry. I know I have it. Did I flip past it? Sorry. No, it's on the back page of the page I turned to. Donna Getty from Morrisville is our president of the joint board. I, John Allen, am the first vice president of the joint board, and Brianna Curran from Bristol Borough is the second vice president. So again, I am looking forward to filling that again. That's how long I've been on that board that has come around. A couple other things. I'd like to point out the Skills USA was held on Friday, December 8th. 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students competed in their technical areas, while 9th graders were participating in team building activities and a pep rally. The winners of the technical competition will move on to represent Bucks County Technical High School at the Skills USA District 2 competitions, which will be held in January. I'd like to say the lottery drawing was held on Thursday, December 14th in the auditorium at 9 a.m. I asked for a breakdown of how many of our students were accepted, how many seats we have. I do not have that information in front of me at the moment, but I will get it to this board. Also, just a couple of other things. Said it was also our reorg meeting, but we did have some action items that I just, two, I believe. The Pennsylvania Department of Education Supplemental Equipment Grant, we accepted it for 2023-2024 in the amount of $160,198. That stipend will be spent in the cosmetology area and welding, which is in much need of equipment. I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but school districts get a lot of grants. Tech schools, not as much. You really got to work for them. So this is a boon to the tech school, and we're quite happy with that. I believe that is all I had. Yes, and the next meeting will be of the Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board. Will be in the boardroom on January 22nd, 2024 at 7:30. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we now come to the closing of the meeting. This is the second public comment period. Anyone interested in running up to the podium? Okay. Does anyone on the board have any future topics? Okay. Brings us to board comment, and we'll start off with Mr. Bowman.
I have nothing, Mr. Sullivan.
Anyone else on the board have any board comments?
Just want to tell everybody to be safe tonight. Hopefully you don't lose power.
Agreed. And I think with that,
Mr. Sullivan, just one thing that I have. Just to supplement to what I said about the board appointment. The person who is selected by the board to fill out Cindy's term will serve until December of 2025. So it's essentially a two-year appointment. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, nothing else? I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay. Good night. Be safe going home.